I am 100% with Almonte when he discusses how the police do not have the right to kill someone based off how they present themselves to the police if there is no physical threat. I do not believe a man or woman should be slaughtered because they may express themselves in a different way, because they have a different mannerism, different expression of their self, because they may not be the standard of what they are used to confronting. Now, I do need to make mention that there are many people, not just white people, but all types of people, all ethnicities of men and women, who hold on to the rhetoric that men and women who conform more to the Eurocentric standard of being and speech are more of a human being, and they are less threatening and therefore deserve to live. I myself have pondered that rhetoric, and I look back at African Americans back in the 50s and 60s when we see a lot of families are intact. We see a lot of black men in business suits and black women in dresses, and we see a reflection of very strong family values. We see a family who are very much so invested. We see a black community that is greatly less incarcerated. We see the efforts and contributions of the black community pouring into HBCUs. We see that there is a much greater emphasis on education in the black community. And so in many ways, I thought that blacks as a community were better in the 50s and 60s, and that, you know, perhaps the black community had more respect back then. But if we look at how the police community, I'm not talking about just individual cops, but the police community disrespected the black community back then we know that no matter how quote unquote civil the black community looks, it can still be attacked by the police force and disrespected. I would like to add a unique perspective to this discussion. We, the black community, we have to stop looking externally and stop allowing ourselves to be victims as a community. It's time for us to empower ourselves. I see a lot of untapped potential. I see a lot of great men and women in our community. And it's beyond time that we start to truly seek out justice. It's time that we start to form alliances with one another. If the black community and the police community have had bad interactions with one another for several years, I do not understand why we expect things to just naturally change. We need to honor our ancestors, and we need to honor the victims of police brutality by empowering ourselves and our communities. We need to gain leadership and precedence in this country to gain respect. This is not going to happen by us pointing fingers at one another. It's not going to take place by us just giving up and surrendering our rights as human beings. What will change things is when we gain an economic foothold in this country. And as old and archaic as some people may think it is, we need to start boycotting collectively any institution that disrespects us.